Wen Lee coming to you from Fate of the Empress, but you can just call me Wen. So today I wanted to go over some things about rides. I don't really talk about rides a lot on my channel, mostly because I think they're very hit or miss about might building, and some of the systems are less user friendly than others, and one I'm still trying to figure out. But let's talk about it a bit. I have talked about Ride Guardian in the past, but not much. So let's talk about it some more. So here we have the ride system, and there are some rides that you can get for free to play players, like this Fox you can get from the exchange shop in the Dream Exchange shop, and this you can get free to play if you grind far hard enough. You can get this horse and a couple of others, like the red one, and a couple others from Fortune, the Fortune Sticks game. Excuse me. So you can get some of these free to play. I got this one from Desert Tales. That was free for me. This one came from Dusk Wondrous. The alpaca I got when I was doing Lucky Treasure Hunt for pets. So this was sort of a coincidence that I got it. I think the only two rides that I bought deliberately were this donkey and this one. I fell in love. There were bunnies. I couldn't help it. So I participated in an event to get this one, which involved quite a bit of money. So this one's free. It's for doing team comp. The calf drum, the wolf is free, and there's also a black wolf. They have the same stats though. So anyway, so there's like the point I'm trying to make is that there are free rides, and it is possible free to play players to participate in rides, as for fun and looks, and also for stats. So there's a couple of different ways free to play players, as well as pay to play or pay to win players, could participate in this and get a lot of stats from it. So firstly of all, you want to look at the ride's stats. So the base stats on this wolf are 85 team attack and 1250 team HP. Anytime you see team, that means that every hero on your team gets that stat. So it's 85 times 6. That's your total might multiplier for this. So let's take the calf drum for instance. 150 team attack, 2,250 team HP. So those are the base stats. That's the stats you get immediately once you have the ride. The second thing to look at for rides that are paid is occasionally there are rides that have luster skins. They're in this luster collection, so if you want the short list, you can go here. And those can add stats too. So this one's a Fabled level ride. You can tell Fabled because they have a red background versus the epic ones, which have a orange or yellowish background. And so you look at the base stats. This one has 3750 team HP and a 50 team AGI. And then if you get the luster card on top of that, which was part of the same event, so I just went for it, you can get bonus stats for that. So just be careful though, because sometimes they offer the luster cards in events and also packs. And if you buy the luster card and you don't apply it to your ride within, I think it's like 10 or 14 days, it will disappear out of your inventory. So if you don't have the ride already for that luster card, do not purchase that luster card because you will be wasting your money and you will be sad, and everybody else will be sad with you because it has happened. Like 3 people on my server did that, thinking that the luster card never expired and that they could just pick up the luster card and then pick up the ride later. And that was not the case. So buyer beware, read very carefully, folk, it's tricky. Okay, So moving on from that, let's talk about how to build stats with rides. Now, there's Ride Guardian, which, let me qualify that as, when you're first getting started, Ride Guardian does not seem like it's going to be very helpful, right? Because it's really hard to collect Primrose, and at least when I started, I mean, a little bit easier now, but when I started, it was extremely difficult to get these Guardian Stones without paying for them. Now they have Endless Nightmare and Fond Dream, and you can, if you have sufficient might, you can get quite a few of those Guardian Stones from that, which is super helpful because then you're not tempted to spend money on them. Okay, so my point being that this is a great system for building might. For free-to-play players, it's going to take you a lot longer to unlock all these and then continue to build your levels, but it's definitely worth it because what it does is it takes the base stats of whatever that ride is that you have in that slot and it multiplies them. You know, for this tortoise ride, it's 16 times. So you can also like check in on your other rides and see if any other ride would give you better stats. Of course, the bunny ride would be better there. What do I have, bunny? Let's see, I have the bunny in the mountain one. Yeah, I should switch that. I don't pay attention to this very often, so I wasn't looking. And I'll put that one there. Well, probably... Yeah, so you have to check your rides occasionally and make sure that you're not missing out on might. I think that... Oops. Oopsies. I shouldn't be doing this when I'm tired. But you get the point. Like, you get your rides lined up. And then you kind of line them up, and then the one with the highest stats you want to be multiplied the most number of times, and the ones with the, you know, all the way down to the ones with the best lower stats that can be multiplied less times. And each time you level up, you're going to get more percentage on each of these. Let's see. Do I have anything better? 600. All right, so it looks like alpaca for there. And you also want to pay attention to, you know, which stats are getting multiplied, because like the donkey is the same might amount as the wolf, but instead of giving team attack, it gives team defense. So if you need more defense points, you can also move your rides around and, you know, trade them out and that kind of thing. Okay, so that's basically the Ride Guardian tip. I think I did like a really detailed one, like how to unlock it and everything earlier, but I've done over 160 videos at this point, so it's a little hard for me to keep track. I put them in playlists for you guys, so they are organized, but I don't have a great memory, so like look in the Pets and Rides playlist and I'm sure you'll find it. All right, so that's it. Occasionally you want to come in and check that especially when you get a new ride, that your Ride Guardian situation is squared away. And this stuff comes from Fond Dream events. So Fond Dream, Endless Nightmare, that kind of thing. All right, the other place that you can definitely gain stats is this Enlighten tab. It becomes much more difficult further on. Like, I think when you first start, each of these little nodes is like 1 or 2 or 3 of the Enlighten cakes. And now it's 160 for this next one. And then the blue pills that you use for this, let's see if I can find them. Okay, here they are. These blue Enlighten pills, those also are something that are really hard to get a hold of when you're first playing, or if you're a free-to-play player. It is easier now that there is Endless Nightmare, and also you can buy them in the Dream Shop. That's really helpful. So do remember that. So that's a good way also to build might through rides. The third way, which is newer, I think it came out about a month ago in an update, or so, month and a half, 2 months ago in an update, is this ride route situation. Now, ride route is complicated, and I would say definitely be very careful, because whatever ride, I thought it was like Enlighten or like Ride Guardian, like you do one upgrade and it's like for all the rides. So it doesn't really matter what ride you have selected going in, but it actually does in this, because this is, each ride has its own set of stats for this. So for instance, if I select Calf Drum and then go into ride route, I've been working on this one. It has one of these traits unlocked already, called Mortal. And what these are is they're like extra bonuses that have specific targets or stat specialties. You can look at all of them in the archive here and what they do. But the point is that if you get them repeatedly, so let's just take a look. I have Mortal, so let's take a look at Mortal. If you get 2 Mortals, then it increases the number of trait Mortal is in deployed rides reaches 6 to activate. So if you have Mortal on your rides, like more than 3 or more times, then this activates. If you have Mortal on your rides this many times, this activates. If you have Mortal on your rides 9 times, this activates. Make sense? And there's a difference between Fabled and Epic rides. So Epic rides only have 2 of these extra traits, and then Fabled have 3. So getting it unlocked has been interesting. You have to upgrade it using these root pills, and there's a huge catch with this, which I find extremely frustrating and I find it very tricky of folk to do it this way, because it's very much like gambling, and you could definitely spend a lot of money doing this if you weren't careful. Like, so if you're a free-to-play player, like, this is not going to be something that you're going to be doing too much of. If you are a paid player, maybe you'll do some of this, but I would highly caution you to keep it balanced, keep some perspective on this. Because what happens is you get to Earth Tier 3, and then in order to get to the next one, every time you move up in levels, the percentage of success rate drops to 15, drops down, and then the chance of failing is huge, and then occasionally you can actually drop a level. So here, and that increases as you go up also. So I've been trying to get this to Heaven. I think the other day I tried to get one of my Fabled rides to Heaven 1. And I think I spent like 400 of these, 400 something root pills, and I didn't make it. So, like, keep some perspective on this. Yes, these look really tempting on paper. These like trait attribute multipliers or whatever. But until they start handing out these root pills like they're literal fluffy seed air, things that are just so abundant, you can just like scoop them up. I won't be like going around buying it and doing it. So rides can be, yes, definitely a good might boost. And I highly encourage you to collect the ones that you actually really like, or the ones that like are going to really change your stats. So you can look through all of the rides and see which ones are going to give you good stats. This one came from Underworld Soul last time, and boy, how much do I wish those red packs were real. But they're not. And then there's other ones that come from Underworld Soul too, like this fish. So there's definitely ways for free-to-play players to get rides. You don't just have to go through paid to win. But, it's really hard to get a Fabled ride for free. Like, these two came for free, and they're Fabled. They're definitely not easy to get. Like, this one took 200 tokens, which you can get by winning the Gray Horse the second time in Dusk Wondrous. Do try to be nice about it on your server if you've already won the horse. If somebody hasn't won it yet, then try to share the wealth. But if nobody at your Wondrous doesn't have the horse, then spin for it and get 15 extra of those paw tokens that are used to buy this. This is 200. And then with these from Underworld Soul, you can get the tokens in the shop now to buy the rides, which is nice. So collecting rides is definitely possible, and you could definitely fill all of your Guardian slots even as a free-to-play player. And you can definitely do this Enlighten thing, even though it'll be grindy and slow as a free-to-play player. Even upgrading this, very possible now as a free-to-play player. However, ride route, I would say definitely take a very cautious approach to this, because starting out at 100% success rate and going down to 15 just a couple tiers up, yeah, I would definitely say that's, if you have lots of money to spend or whatever, hey, go for it. I'm very happy for you. If you don't, then don't stress over it. It's not worth it. Alright guys, this has been my very rambly late night video on rides and how to get them and how to make them work for you. I think that just gained me like 100,000 or so might, like just changing my rides around in Ride Guardian. So, but I wasn't paying attention. I guess you'll have to look at the beginning of the video and the end. Then you can see like the difference in the position that your rides have in Ride Guardian. So check that out. Alright guys, if you have questions, please ask them below. I'm sure I missed something because the whole system is so complex, and I don't know everything about Ride Guardian yet, obviously, because I'm not willing to spend a ton of money in order for that to happen. So if you have more information, feel free to share below. Like, subscribe, share my videos if you find them helpful, and have a great night. Oh, and help each other out if you get a chance.